What's up, everyone, and welcome back to another Kumite Lifestyle Podcast. Before we get into today's episode, I want to give a huge shout out to today's proud supporters of the show. They are Delaware Bushido Academy, Gracie Jiu-Jitsu Smyrna, White Belt Surfer, and Tori Wellness Center. We appreciate your continued support in helping us bring these powerful conversations to life. Now let's get into it. Today's guest is someone I'm really excited to bring on. His name is Shohjahon Saidmurodov, also known as Sho. Originally born in Uzbekistan and moving to the United States at just 3 years old, Sho represents what it truly means to chase opportunity and build something bigger than yourself. From humble beginnings to stepping onto the national stage, he's become an AAU USA national karate team athlete, competing at a high level and representing not just his dojo, but his family, his roots, and this country. But it doesn't stop there. Sho is also a United States Marine, balancing discipline, service, and purpose while continuing to grow as both an athlete and a leader. His journey is built on sacrifice, hard work, and a mindset that continues to evolve through every challenge he faces. In this episode, we dive into his story, from his early beginnings in martial arts to competing on the national and international stage, to serving in the military and developing a mindset rooted in humility, growth, and purpose. This is a conversation about resilience, identity, and what it really takes to build your life from the ground up. Let's get into it. What's up, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of the Kumite Lifestyle Podcast. And guys, today I also want to make mention that before we, introduce today's guest, we're now available on Spotify, Apple, Amazon. So we're currently in the process of getting all of the videos on YouTube that you guys have been watching, or if this is your first time, welcome. So now you have the opportunity to check them out on different platforms. Real quick, if you're enjoying what you're watching or listening to right now, do me a favor and hit that subscribe button on YouTube and follow us on all major streaming platforms, including Spotify, Apple, and Amazon. This podcast is all about real conversations and stories that resonate with all walks of life, and your support helps us bringing these amazing, powerful episodes to you. Let's stay connected. Don't miss what's next, and be a part of the Kumite Lifestyle community. Let's get back into it. So let's get into it. So today we have Sho, and I'll let him introduce, say his first and last name, but I'm super excited to have him on because, like many of my guests, he's an AAU USA national team member. So, it's just an honor to have, these amazing athletes. So I'm excited to have you on. So, bro, say your first and last name, and welcome to the show.
Hey, so my first and last name is Shohjahon Saidmurodov, but everybody calls me Sho.
Very cool. And Sho, I really appreciate you hopping on, like I was saying. And where are you currently in the world right now? Like, what's your location, if you're down to share that?
Yes, right now I'm in Long Island, New York, so that's where I live currently.
Very cool. And if you had to sell Long Island or give like maybe three interesting facts about, or maybe not facts, like maybe three selling points of why people should visit Long Island, what would those three things be?
That's a tough question because every day I'm in Brooklyn or Manhattan, so I just come here to rest, in my opinion. But if you want like, three places or three things to do here, I'd say Jones Beach is a good pick. The beaches are really nice. It's really quiet here. So, if you want to get away from the city and just have a calm time, you can just go all the way to the end of Long Island and you'll be chilling. Another thing is, that's really it. Other than that, it's a little boring, not gonna lie.
Interesting. Yeah, I've only been to New York a few times. I've been to New York City. I did go to Long Island, I believe, when I was younger, or I think there was a karate tournament there because I remember driving past the Statue of Liberty. So I'm not too much of a stranger to New York City or just that area. But, when I picture New York and, maybe the listeners out there can kind of can maybe relate, but is it overwhelming with how busy or like how bustling or how crowded, the city can get?
I don't think it's overwhelming. I think it's like the perfect balance for me. Like the moment you step into like Brooklyn or Manhattan, you just get that feeling of like, hey, I got stuff to do. There's always something to do. Like it's never a boring day in New York City. So that's what I love about it.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And that's one thing that I think, the movies and even just, social media kind of highlights, because you see like everyone's always going somewhere, like I was there one day for the last time for the holidays, excuse me. And obviously it's different during the holidays because everyone's there, with families and, whatnot. But man, everyone is like hustling, bro. So
it's nice. I like it.
I agree. So, speaking of the city, well, let's start with kind of your backstory origin, right?
Yeah.
Because I know there's a lot to unpack there, and I'm super excited to hear what you have to share today. So let's start with that. So where did you originally come from? Because go ahead. I'm sorry.
Yes. So I was born in Uzbekistan, right? Samarkand, specifically that state. And then when I was 3 years old, my family, we would do a green card lottery every year, and it's really difficult to get it, but my family won. And so my dad and mom quit their job, and me and my family, we moved into New York City and Brooklyn to just basically live what we would call the American dream. And that's where I started at.
That's awesome. So you had this opportunity where not only just your family but yourself, you guys decided to enter in this lottery, like you said. And that's interesting because I've heard about this process kind of in the past through some folks. So that's one thing we have in common. I'm also not from this country either, so I definitely understand. Coming over. At, I mean, I'm not sure what age. Like, what age did you come over?
Three. What about you?
Dude, perfect. Yeah, I was three as well. So I
Nice.
don't. So like even though three is such a it's still kind of an infant stage. You're still like you can still remember stuff, and I know from my like my own like I remember the orphanage I was in. I remember when my parents came and got me because I was adopted. So my
Oh
process of
yeah.
getting over here was a little bit different.
That's
So,
dope.
yeah, man. Yeah. So like when I hear stories about yourself and your family, it's like I like it means a lot more. So
It's home.
yeah, absolutely. So, you and you guys. So, was New York where you guys moved here originally?
Yeah, we came to Brooklyn and lived there for like 13 years, 13, 14 years, and then we moved out to Long Island, and that's where we stand right now.
Nice.
Yeah.
And was Long Island like? Was that where you guys initially wanted to move, or was that what was available as far as where you could go? Because I'm not as educated as far as the process of winning, yeah, winning a green card. So I would love
Yeah.
to kind of hear your mindset on that. So when like what was, and obviously you were young, but maybe you can recollect
Yeah.
like from your parents why Long Island specifically.
Well, Long Island was the point where we wanted to buy a house and actually move on with our lives because my sister, her husband, they just started having kids, and it will be a better lifestyle for us to move out to Long Island. But prior to that, when we were in Brooklyn, right, we stayed there due to the fact that, when immigrants move, they like to get secluded in their own community, have help from those that they recognize and know. And, it's basically a community of your own kind. And in Brooklyn, there was a good amount of population in regards to like Uzbeks and Tajiks, and that's just where we landed at.
Got it. So it was kind of a melting pot, as they say.
Yes, literally.
Okay. Yeah, so I've had I had a previous guest on, someone that we just mentioned, Mateo, and I know that his family moved over. And so, just to make a long story short, after talking to his family years ago on an AAU trip, they were saying something very similar, that when they commuted, a lot of the, folks from their country or from their region, if you will, a
Yeah.
lot of them were already settled here where they had moved. So it's interesting to like know, like, even though you're moving to a new place, there were still very familiar,
Yes, faces
people
and
there.
aspects.
That's awesome. Yeah, it's awesome. So, growing up, what was the education system like? Did you, I mean, I don't want to assume, but I mean, have a good chip on your shoulder. Like you seem to, really kind of know, like, what you want. So, I'm curious, was that something that you always had all along, or did that kind of blossom over time?
I think I always had it like a straightforward mind when it came to education due to the fact of my siblings being harsh on me, but in a good way. Like my sister would put education first for me, while
Yeah,
my brother would put like sports and fitness first for me, right?
yeah,
And that's the reason why when it came to like elementary school, middle, and high school, I was always on top of it, trying to like focus on my career and what I would want for myself in the future. And then that's where I like committed into karate, and my love for karate blossomed, as you said, because
yeah.
of my brother. So I really am grateful for my siblings for those opportunities, as well as my parents.
Yeah. Yeah. So now I would love to jump in, into when you started martial arts. I don't want to assume that karate was your first style, but when did you start martial arts? Do you remember how young you were?
Yeah, I do. It's a funny story in my opinion. I was in fourth grade in summer, and I was just really bored of this like summer camp thing, and I just didn't want to do it. I'm like, yo, mom, I need to do something else. And I was watching Kung Fu Panda 2 one day, and I
Yeah.
was like, "Nah, this is what I want to do." And like perfect timing, God bless, right? I right around the corner there was a dojo that just opened, Blitz Dojo, like a week ago. And then I pop in there and then Sensei Joe and Vicky are there. They're like my karate parents basically. Love them both, right? Been
Sure.
with me since I was a kid.
Yeah.
And then I do a free tryout class because that's what we do at our dojo.
Yeah.
And he's trying to say my name. Joe's like, "What type of name is that?" I'm like, Shohjahon. And he's like, "Nah, I don't get it." He's like, "You know what? You're gonna be called Show now." And I'm like, "All right, bet." Well, I just grew from there. It was just a big fun process for me.
Yeah, and interestingly enough, with the nickname Show, or the name that he decided to call you, just whether it's for efficiency or not, but in the Okinawan karate system or the
Yes.
Japanese system, Show means one, right? So
Yes.
Shodan. So really, you're number one, bro.
Yeah, it's dope, bro. But guess what my real name means too?
Yeah, go ahead.
It means king of the world. It's crazy.
Oh, dude, that's
Yeah,
sick.
bro. Love my
Very
parents
cool.
for that one.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. So what I'm hearing is you've had a really good upstart, even from the, you know, up until fourth grade. When you mentioned about walking into the dojo. So, yeah, those are the stories. Excuse me, that I love to hear about. Just that family support.
Yeah.
Because I'm even to this day, I'm very grateful to have my parents and just the love that they have, and
Hmm.
to be able to do what I love every single day. But I don't take that for granted.
Yeah.
And like
Exactly.
as I'm listening to you, I don't get that inclination at all. So it's cool how you've been able to experience a lot of life and a lot of experiences, but while still maintaining that humbleness. And I wonder, before we kind of jump into your early years of karate, how do you stay humble, Show? Like, is that something that just kind of happens naturally, or was that like maybe a hard talk that someone had to have with you years ago, and you kind of flip that switch, as they say?
I'd say it's God, first of all. Thank God for everything, right?
Yeah,
I'd say I've had a lot of slaps in my face about like ego and stuff. Yeah,
yeah,
especially growing up in a dojo where it's like me, the only one of the first students, and I'm like excelling because I'm basically getting privates and stuff like that. My senseis had to humble me a lot. My team members had to humble me a lot. I had to learn those lessons the hard way. And I'm not gonna lie about that. It was a really good growing moment for me because I really needed that in order to develop my own character and actually stand on my own shoulders and develop the morals and principles that I uphold.
yeah.
So it was a wake up call for me. It didn't come naturally or anything like that. I had to learn it, and I was just a little kid thinking I was hot stuff, and I grew out of that and became
Yeah.
what I am now.
Yeah, it's those life experiences, right?
Yeah,
It's, they say every 5 years or so, the way we see the world, the way we, conceptualize how we think changes. And I think it should, because, when you're in the same environment, or if you're not growing, as they say, and I'm sure you've heard this analogy, especially in the sport world, where, there's a lot of big fish in small ponds,
yeah,
and if you're not constantly growing, then it's almost like what's the point of all this? So no, it's cool that you have that deep rooted foundation in you, and I love that you mentioned that it's the people around you that shape you. So speaking of the folks around you, let's discuss. So you're in fourth grade, and
yeah,
you get bored at this camp, and then you decide to embark, as they say, like, for the rest of your life in
yeah.
karate. So what was training like early on? Because I would love to hear about your competition, but, kind of before that, like, walk us through like a day in the life of being a fourth grader, or fifth grader, and you're doing karate at that age. What was that like for you?
It was, man. When I look back at it now, it's like I was living the dream, man. Obviously I had in the back of my mind, I was like, dang, this is a sacrifice. I really have to like put work into it because of the fact that my mom, she would work three jobs for us. So I knew it was a sacrifice for her to actually put me into this. So I
Mhm.
actually had to care about it. So I knew both mentally and physically I had to put effort into it.
Yeah.
The fact of like, we're not like rich or anything. We just moved in, we're immigrants. I need to lock in, right? Even as a fourth grader, I knew that I had to put effort and I did love it too, right?
Yeah.
Did with my senseis, it was amazing. It was amazing, especially in the beginning, man. Me and Sensei Joe or Vicky, we would do like a class. It would be like two, three of us, right? Because it's brand new dojo, like a week old, just open, and it'll be amazing. We would do a Shotokan karate, Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, and American kickboxing, all in one, right? Integrate all the mixed martial arts.
Yeah.
Heavy focus on that. Joe would show us his own style, and then after that, me and Joe or Vicky, we would just get some pizza or ice cream, and then pass out flyers or whatever. It was a good time. I really
Yeah.
love it.
That's awesome. And they say as we get older, a reflection of things kind of gets a little bit more I don't say brighter, but we tend to remember a lot more after the fact. But it's cool, like even as a kid or even during that time, because you described that perfectly, right? You're training and you're just hanging out with like what's soon to be your extended family, and I don't think people that do like obviously there's like a lot of different sports, but I'm going to use karate and and obviously you can relate to that, but there's a lot to be said about the connections that we make
Yes.
both on and off the mat or the tatami as they say. So very cool. So so obviously you're enjoying your training, from the start. Um, so now let's talk about your competition career, bro. So I know you have an extensive, background as far as, the AAU, and, we can definitely jump into that when it's appropriate. But talk about when did you first start competing, Show? And was that something that you wanted to do?
Yes, I was really excited because I love competition. Even as a kid, I knew I was like, hey, I want to know where I stand in regards to other people and other age groups and whatever the case may be. But I believe when I was 6 months up to a year in, when I became a yellow belt, I went to my first competition, and it wasn't a traditional tournament; it was an open tournament. And I just found it really cool because I'm seeing like these people with commas and bow staff flipping, kicking, doing crazy stuff, stunts and music, and I was like, wow, like this is pretty dope. And then I get on that tatami for the first time to actually compete, and it was just like a feeling unlike any other. I'm like, damn, like I'm going against other people and I'm representing my people, my dojo, my sensei. So it was an amazing feeling. My first tournament, I got first in Kama's weapons, Kobudo. I
Yeah.
got second in kata, and I got third in fighting. And I was like, I genuinely love this, right? From the whole trip of like driving there, going through the whole waiting process, and actually being on the mat, cheering on, the whole like the vibe was amazing. So that's where it really started.
Yeah, and that's awesome. And you had success at your first tournament, so obviously that it creates like a domino effect.
Yes, it did. It did.
It becomes very addicting. So when did you? What circuit was this? Was this an open circuit or was this AAU?
It was an open circuit. It was the Twin Towers
Yeah.
National. Yeah,
Yep.
it doesn't exist anymore. I think when I went, it was the last tournament.
Mm.
And then after that, we just kept doing traditional tournaments and growing on from there. Regular competitions in New York City, Pennsylvania, New Jersey, things like that of that nature. And it was just good. I just kept growing and growing from tournament to tournament. Obviously, I had like some rough losses too, as everybody
I
does.
think we all do. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. It was a sucker punch to the face, but I feel like those moments helped me grow even more than the wins.
Yeah, for sure. It's, as they say, it's either you win or you learn, and that's
Yes.
something that, as an athlete, you don't really process that until you actually take your first loss or when you lose an event that means so much to you, and I wonder, Show, like what was that turning point, or maybe not turning point, because we can use that more kind of because you can look at that from a win perspective. But
Yeah.
was there a tournament when you didn't get the results that you wanted, and how did that particular moment kind of redefine like your future training and just your outlook on competition?
To be honest, I've been there a couple of times, like three,
Yeah,
4, 5 times where I had like these big tournaments where I was like, damn, that sucked. Like it genuinely felt horrible. I was like off for a month or two in regards to feeling like I just didn't have what it takes. But it's good. It's good because it shows you a limit that you have and the feeling that hey, you can achieve going past this feeling, this limit, and just become better. But whenever I got to those like stumps, those stuck points in my life, I knew that hey, this sucks. It's absolutely horrible for me. When I go training again, it doesn't feel right. My hands aren't moving the right way I want them to. I feel slow, sluggish. But I feel like those moments, especially in every athlete, that's your turning point, as you said, right? That's like a hey, am I going to continue with competition and keep going forward and try to exceed this like stuck pain? Because at the moment you feel like, wow, I suck. I don't know what to do.
yeah.
But I got to go through that in order to achieve more. So I'm very grateful for my senseis and my teammates pushing me up on those moments.
Yeah, absolutely. So now, as you continue to, move up the pedigree and, compete, when did you first get introduced to the AAU? Because I know you said you did the Twin Towers.
Yes.
So was AAU something you did kind of like organically, or is that like, did your senseis introduce that to you?
So again, we just opened up the dojo right in fourth grade. And then a few years down the line, we started to have more and more teammates, right? We were competing on the local level and we were winning. We were doing great, right? Sensei saw us succeeding. And then they're like, hey, you know what? We're going to go to nationals now. And then the first nationals that we thought about was the AAU Florida Nationals. And then we went there. The first time that we went there, I believe it was the world tournament as well. So it was an epic highlight for me. Like,
What year was that? Do you remember?
I believe, yeah, let me look at the medal. 2022.
Yeah, yeah. So that was in Florida, right? Or
Yeah.
not Florida? Yeah. Yep. I remember I saw videos from that from that tournament. But that's awesome. So how did you do at that competition?
It was
You
extraordinary.
said you got a medal, so I just
Yeah, yeah, yeah. It's so cool. It like spins and everything. I love it. I love it. I got third for the world competition, right? I won against France and lost. So
Mhm.
I have some beef with some French people, but it's okay. And then for nationals, right, the regular AU nationals, I believe I won in my division at the time with the age category that I was in. So it was fun. It was a lot of fun.
Yeah, very cool. And that was when did you make your first national team? And yeah, I'll start with that. Like because I know you've been on the national team. How many
Yes.
national teams have you been on?
I think a few because that does qualify as a national team. I think I qualified the next year to go to a country, but I couldn't because I had boot camp or something, right? In
Yeah, yeah,
2024, I believe I had boot camp, so I had to skip out on Romania or Mexico,
yeah.
one of those countries. And then after that, when I came back from training, I went to nationals again, became an AU ambassador, and then out of the blue, I made the team to get invited into the first WUKF Latin American Championships in Panama. So that was an extraordinary experience for me. So that was pretty cool.
So you went to Panama.
Yeah, I did. I did. It was awesome.
Yeah. So before we talk about Panama, I would love to hear your perspective on what does it take to make the national team? Like, what are the qualifications for the AAU nationals?
You got a medal in your division. I believe it's depends on advanced, I believe only, right?
Yeah,
Top two, top three medal in those divisions. And then selection is yeah, I think that is the selection. I'm not too aware of it because I once I was making the teams, it was like 16, 17, and then 18 plus. So I only know about my divisions and how it works, right? Medaling in the nationals would qualify you. I know there's some other national tournaments with the AAU that
yeah,
could qualify you as well, but I didn't really go to those. So I
yeah,
don't know about making the team. Obviously, it's a tough competition too sometimes, right? You got all these people, you could get like 30 plus in your division that
yeah.
want to make the team and have this opportunity to travel and, get that experience with other countries. So it's not easy. I wouldn't say that.
Yeah, no, no, absolutely not. And anything worth chasing is not going to be easy. And there's
Yeah.
a lot of great athletes, and the caliber of training, and just with social media these days. I mean, you go to Instagram, you see all these reels from either USA Karate or AAU, and not to be political, but karate is karate as far as the sports sense goes, or the Olympic track goes, if you will. And there's just some incredible athletes. And I know for myself, the way that I made it onto the team was
Oh
I
yeah.
didn't I didn't go through the national
Hmm.
selection process. I went through the Junior Olympics that
Yes.
they had at the time. They had like the team. It was the team tryouts, if you will, and yeah, like it was like 50 people trying out for this team, and I thought it was going to be like maybe like 10 or 20 because I just figured in my mind like, okay, obviously there was just nationals, so obviously they already have like the top two.
Yeah.
But for all those people that got third or fourth that didn't place, they're still hungry to go for it.
Yeah, it sucks, bro. It
Yeah.
sucks.
So I get it. So thankfully I made it onto the team,
Oh
and
yeah.
I went to Italy, man. So
That's
uh,
dope.
yeah,
That's
dude.
nice.
Yeah. So yeah, talk about your time when you got to travel.
It was amazing. I got to go to Panama. It was they were choosing a few team members from AAU, and then I got selected, me, another ambassador, and then some people like Sean Russell, Amber, right? Some good people that I know, right? We made the
Yeah.
USA team for AAU, and then we got to go to the first WUKF Latin American Championships like ever made. So it was an extraordinary experience. It was at this like big grand center. I forgot what it was called, but I just know it was a big tournament, right? And then we had like some countries from mostly Hispanic countries because know that it was Latin American, right? And it was just really nice to meet all these other people, to actually talk with them, to like trade some merch and, grab some stuff from them and to really compete with people from another country.
Yeah, it really does open up your perspective, and something that I love asking, the athletes that I have on as far as their overseas competition is what was your takeaway? Like um what was one of your biggest takeaways, aside from the competition itself? Maybe it was, cultural differences, or maybe something happened. There was a moment where you realized like, oh wow, like this place isn't like America,
Yeah.
like,
Yeah.
can you recall any moments like that?
Yeah, I mean, I just remember being in the city. I'm like, damn, I should really be more grateful for what I have. So, and the fact that I do want to travel more because I feel like those experiences both like elevate you and life. It's just a good thing to go out there and see other cultures from their perspective and get an inside look on how they live, as well as going there and reflecting upon yourself and being like, wow, I should be grateful for like actually having a home that has like 24 hours of electricity and stuff like that. So it's a good wake up call, right? I believe everybody needs it, to just be grateful and to be humble about what you have, where you live, and the
Yeah.
opportunities that we have. So it's really nice.
Yeah, going to Italy was very, same emotions there, just a lot to be grateful, and a lot of countries that, on paper we just see them kind of as adversaries or
Yeah.
opponents. But, what I didn't realize show initially was a lot of these countries like Serbia, Bosnia, because, we were over in Europe. So it's, obviously a different part of the world, as you know, of course. And seeing a lot of these athletes, living on buses or just,
Yeah.
kind of these rundown, shacks as motels. And here we are staying in this, from what our standards would be like a 3-star hotel. And,
Yeah.
because America's bougie, and like, I'm just going to say that. And, everyone has their phones, everyone has, clothes and stuff. And, here we are, with our own problems, but in hindsight, it's not really problems at all.
No,
And
doesn't compare.
yeah, absolutely. So I think I know. Well, I don't think I know for myself that was, yeah, that was probably the most eye-opening experience. Was like, dang, like these guys are amazing at karate, but it means a little bit something more to
It
them
does.
because they are representing their country, and a lot of these people are fighting for scholarships or just that ability to have somewhat of a decent life. Where, I mean, I was 20 on that team, man. I was the oldest, and there were kids, and I say kids because they were like 10, 11, 12, and they had been on like their second or third national team, and bro, they're killing it. And like, just seeing them warm up, and I'm like I thought I was good, and I know I'm capable, but like you never know how good you are until you're around like people that are much better than like.
Yeah, it's a different level, man. It's a good wake up call.
Yeah, absolutely. And I know AAU has a lot of great athletes, and you've been around a lot of them. Are there any athletes that you've you know alongside your dojo mates, of course, but anyone on the national team that you've kind of looked at was like, wow, like that person really has it together?
I It's just a whole bunch of lists, right?
Yeah,
My teammate Annabelle is extraordinary, right? I've been training for with her for like over 10 years now, and I've seen her progression. It's like, wow, you're doing freaking awesome, right? Every time I've seen her, she's went on to the national like finals for AU a couple of times. It's just amazing to see her compete. It's really a good moment for me to see her growth and be like, wow, you're doing great. Like every single time I see her compete, I see growth. So I believe that's a person that I personally look up to.
yeah,
She's main competition in the dojo, but in a really good way. So we always elevate each other. And then some other opponents that I've been with a couple of times, like Kenny, right? That's Sean Russell's dojo. Kenny, I fought with him since I was a kid, from tournament to tournament to tournament, and it was like I win, he loses, I win, he like it goes back and forth, and it's a good competition, right? It's really nice. Sean Russell, obviously, I've competed
yeah.
with him 3 times. That guy's just crazy, bro. He's like a spider, like so he just boom, like you blink and his leg is in your face. It's something. Mateo Laddick's a lot of fun to fight too. He's a big
Yeah.
guy, so it was an interesting fight. Yeah, there's just a whole bunch.
Yeah, do you know Luke Sartino?
Luke Sortino, I've heard of him.
Yeah, yeah. So he's from Adamson's karate, and I just had him on, and because you're talking about fighting, he's someone that because he went to Italy with me, and like he's always been just wicked good, and he's won
Yeah.
like like, consistently. And I think that's one of the, the pillars of success is not just winning it one time. It's, seeing individuals win it back to back. And even like
Yes.
yourself, because, it's one thing to become a champion, but it's another thing to actually retain that,
Yeah, it's a whole different story, man.
Yeah, and we see that a lot in the UFC. People win the belt, and then very few can actually retain it,
Yeah.
because you reach that high pedigree of the sport, and then it's like, what's next? And then you got to find that thing that's going to keep you motivated. Because if you don't, the person underneath you, it's like they're more hungry than you are.
Yeah, exactly. You gotta want it.
Yeah, absolutely. So, um, real quick before we kind of jump into a
Yeah.
new topic, but I did want to hear your insight on the AAU ambassadorship. AAU ambassadorship. What is how did you become that? Excuse me, and what does all that entail? I'm sorry.
It was a great experience. So I got contacted by Sensei Moose Baba. I love that dude.
Yeah,
Really a great dude, right? He reached out to me. He's like, "Hey, you should apply for this, become an AAU ambassador." I was like, "You know what? Sure, why not? Let me do it." Right. So I made my little film. Right. I got my one of my best friends. He's a good camera guy. Made a little film, submitted it, and then I got selected. It was awesome opportunity as an AAU ambassador. I got so much opportunity to represent the AAU, which is right sports for all, karate for all, which is like a big part for me personally. I believe it's just a good growth, and then the opportunity to just go and be out there as an AAU ambassador. I get opportunity to go to multiple tournaments. The whole Panama thing was because of that as well. So
Mm,
that would not have been possible without the AAU at all. So I'm very grateful for the opportunity to be an AAU ambassador and the fact that I get to represent such a bigger family and culture, not just people, but an actual family.
yeah,
So it's really nice.
very cool. So yeah, so you just applied, and like, had you never applied, right, you never would have been an
Yeah.
ambassador. So
That team was blessed me up.
yeah, absolutely. He's someone that I had on the podcast as well, so you can always check that out. And for
Yes, I did
listeners,
see that.
very cool. Speaking of representing this country, man, I know that you've also, because you mentioned, going to boot camp one summer.
Yeah.
What was the decision to, well, first, thank you for your service, of course. What was your decision to join the military?
Well, thank you for your service as well. But
Thank you.
it was a it was a good choice. I just knew that I wanted to be in the military in order to, hey, I want to, in the future, I want to be able to support my family, right? Have a wife and kids and be able to give them a stronger foundation than I had
Love
to
it.
make sure that they're on the right route. That was a big part of it. Another part of it was like, hey, if I ever go away or if I'm ever done, like something happens, God forbid, I want to have an actual title and the title of United States Marine, right? It's always going to stick with me. So that was a good decision. And the third factor, right, a big factor of mine was that it helps with college. It helps set up for the future. It gives me a plan B, C, D, and E option for my life, right? So it was a good setup for my future careers, as well as my sensei, Vicky and Joe. They already set me up with the foundations I need to get through boot camp and get through all that training easily. Now, I'm not going to say it was easy, but like, hey, I had a better time than most recruits, right? Just
Yeah.
because of the fact that my senseis, they went hard on me. They made me train and they made me go through all that. And I'm very grateful for it.
Very cool. Yeah, just having that mindset, it sounds like your instructors, they instilled that,
Yeah.
early on. I would love to hear maybe a little bit about, your time in basic training.
Hmm.
Was there, and like you already said, it's not easy, but you were already better prepared than most recruits, as you said. But was there a moment in basic training where, it just maybe took a deep breath and said, "Oh, this is hard," or
Yeah.
you know what I mean? Like, or maybe you didn't, I would just love to hear your insight on that.
There's been moments, and I believe everybody has their moments in basic training. I'm about
Yeah.
to go to basic training again, but to become a Marine Corps officer, right? So I'm going to boot camp again for this summer, 6 weeks, and then next summer, 6 weeks. So I'm gonna go through the same exact thing, but a different version again. So I'm sure those moments are gonna pop out again, but there's been a lot of times specifically during swim call week where I was like, damn, I gotta swim with a whole uniform and heavy boots. All right, cool. I got you, right? So I'm going through that. I fell swim call, you have a lot of chances. So I had
Yeah.
to relearn swimming and go through that whole process again. I was like, that was the only week where I was like really afraid. I was like, what if I get dropped? What if I get left back? This is gonna be horrible. I want to graduate on time. I want to go home. I was like freaking out. But then,
Yeah.
thank God it all worked out. I actually got my mind straight and then, just went through it. So that was one of those moments. And then we have what's called a crucible,
Yeah. Yep.
the culminating event to become a United States Marine. Absolutely insane. Insane feeling to go through that, to get your EGA and finally be a Marine.
Hmm.
I can't explain that feeling. It's unlike any other, but that's when it sucked the most. But at the same time, it's when it felt great the most because it shows you that when you're so close to your goal and you're going through the worst time of your life, that you could push through. The amount of blisters I had, everybody had like double dragon, which is when you like throw up and have diarrhea at the same time. It was a bad time, right? Like everybody was going through it, but like
Yeah.
you look around and you don't see anyone complaining. Everybody's still pushing through.
Yeah.
Like we have no sleep, 4 hours of sleep for 2 days spin. We have MREs, which
Yeah.
obviously taste like absolute dog, but
Well, it just depends on what flavor you get, but for the most part, they're all bad.
yeah, bro, it was pretty bad.
Yeah.
Especially the vegetarian MREs. No offense. It's just what you do. Right? Having 2, 3 of those and having to be up on your feet all day and night doing land nav, night nav, still getting yelled at by your drill instructors for the last time. Well, I wouldn't say last time, but like personally as recruits,
Yeah.
through all that training, but in your mind that like, hey, this is all for a reason. And that's when it really starts to snap in that like, damn, they're doing their job for a reason. We're becoming Marines. This is how we should act. There's a reason for everything. This is why everything sucks right now, but we still have to keep going.
Yeah.
That was a really tough moment, but to actually finish and become a Marine, it's more than grateful. I would do it 100 times over just to become a Marine.
Yeah, absolutely. And you said, I love how you mentioned that you were with your peers, right? It's like you're going through this moment in your life where it's not forever, but it's an important stamp in your life where it's nice when you go through things together with folks, because it's kind of motivating, I'm sure, because you look around and you're like, man, this sucks. I feel crappy, but the person next to you is going through the same thing, but you can look at each other and be like, hey man, we got this. What was it like? And this is all fascinating to hear because everyone's experience with basic training, regardless of branch, is different, and every branch is different as well. So I think that's important to note because what I did in the Air Force is a lot different than what you do in the military. So the structural training has to be different because it's while we are one total force, each force is specified for a different agenda.
Yeah.
So on TV, right, or like movies like Full Metal Jacket, making these like kind of make out these drill instructors, right, these DIs to be like these awful people. What was your, I don't want to say relationship, but like what was your professional, I guess rapport with your instructors? Was it as bad as you thought, or are they actually decent people, or you know what I mean?
They're wonderful people. They're great people, like genuinely good guys, but they're absolute assholes. Like it was crazy. It was bad. It sucked every day, but at some point you realize that's what they have to do. That's their job. This is the legit training that they were trained to give us in order to become sufficient and actual Marines, right? So even though it was hard, it sucked. Like you're getting spat at, yelled at in your face this close, and you're like, whoa, right? It's a big wake up call, but like it's worth it. At the end of the day, you realize like, hey, they're doing their job, and this is for the better of me. They're doing it for me to become an actual United States Marine. I'm joining their institution. I'm not just signing a contract and boom, I'm a United States Marine. That's not how it works. Like I have to earn this title and earn my position within the United States Marine Corps. So yeah, it sucked. It is like, those movies, there are like a lot of similarities where I'm getting yelled at. We're doing back and forth and like crazy stuff. Like it sucks. It's mentally draining, but it's very worth it.
Yeah. After you graduate basic training, right, and you go through the crucible and then you get your next assignment and then you go through your field training. I know every branch, there's a different acronym for it. I know it's like MOS or your or tech school, as they say in the Air Force. But, when you went through your specific job qualification, well, so two questions. What do you do in what's your job in the Marines? And then, the second part question to that is, mentally, right? What did you take away from the whole experience as far as, being a Marine, and how does that carried on, to your regular life now, or your not regular life, but, the life that you're, living in conjunction with being a Marine. So, what's your job, and what life lessons, as far as your mentality, did you take after being, or I'm sorry, becoming a Marine?
So my MOS, I'm an 1164. That's a basic utility system technician. I deal with generators in order to give power to sites, buildings, AC units, and everything like that. And then I specifically deal with ACs from like, like, hey, making a room cold or hot, or holding certain types of medication or dead bodies in certain places so we can bring it back home. So that's my job, right? That's what I deal with. We do a lot of cross training as well with like heavy equipment people, and then water dogs and all sorts of other people, right? But we're there to set up the sites, make sure that there's sufficient energy running, and that everybody has power. So that's my job in the military. But regardless of that, taking the Marines into my civilian life and my civilian sector of everything,
Yeah.
it's good because once a Marine, always a Marine. I'm constantly representing the fact that, hey, I'm a United States Marine. I represent something bigger than myself, right? When I wear that uniform for my 2 to 4 days a month, I'm not just wearing a uniform. I'm wearing a uniform that God knows how many men and women have died in and actually sacrificed their lives. It means a lot more than I can think or I can grasp. So I
Yeah.
wear that uniform with respect, with dignity, with pride, right? I'm representing something much more than me, much greater, much older than me. The amount of culture that goes into the Marine Corps, it's amazing. And I feel as though it's a brotherhood, right? Because a lot of people, they go there to not just find a future, but also a family, right? So that's what we represent. And that's how I see the correlations between the United States Marine, the AAU, and karate in general. So it's nice. It's nice. I take that into my civilian life, and then I just have this mindset of, hey, let me keep it professional, right? When I need to keep it professional, let me keep it straightforward. If I need to take charge or take lead of a task, let me do that, right? Let me make sure that whatever I'm doing is being done right. So that's what I do. And then, obviously, if I see that there's people struggling, I'm not just going to leave them out to the curb, right? Because in the Marines, we learned that, hey, yo, the weakest link, they're still a part of your platoon. That's as strong as you can get.
Yeah.
So I have to find those like ones and twosies. I got to elevate them, right? And those ones and twosies, they could be myself as well in any situation, regardless of that fact. So I know if it's me, I know I got to step my game up. I gotta do something, right? If I'm teaching a class in karate and I see that I'm lacking behind, I know that these students need proper training, and I need to go back, I need to reflect, and I need to fix how I'm teaching. So I take the Marines and put it to every aspect of my life.
Very cool. Yeah, I think that's man, that was an awesome, breakdown. And I love that you kind of touched on, like within that question, or within that topic, you were kind of scratching the surface, like amongst other kind of subtopics about how like every group has the weak link, and it's up to the organization to hopefully discover who that weak link is. And then you were also vulnerable in a sense, saying that, the weak link could be you.
Yeah.
I think that's, comes back from a humble mindset that you learned early on, with karate. Yeah, man. I think what you're doing is great. And you have this opportunity to serve in the capacity that you do. And it's interesting how you've learned a lot of things from karate that's translated into becoming a Marine, and vice versa.
Yeah.
So moving forward, you can use those skill sets to help the next generation. So speaking of the future, right? You're an established karateka. You've had success, both on and off the tatami. You're serving this country. Where do you see yourself in the next, maybe 5 years? I don't want to say 10 because that can be a stretch, but obviously it's good to have goals. But do you have any aspirations to
Yeah.
maybe open up a dojo, or do you want to, continue making national teams? So I know you talked about the military, and that's hopefully an ongoing thing that you can, continue to progress at. But I'd love to know more about your future goals for, martial arts and, just karate as a whole.
Yes. I have a lot of goals currently, right? Right now, I'm a college full-time student at John Jay Criminal Justice, really good college.
Nice.
And I'm a full-time instructor, martial arts instructor, and fitness trainer, right? So I work at my dojo full-time as well.
Yeah.
And I'm a United States Marine, so I take care of those obligations month by month as well. Right now, my plan is to graduate college, right? I'm in a PLC program, which is a program where I'm en route to becoming a Marine Corps officer, hopefully, right? I do boot camp this month, I mean, this year. Next year, I go through the same 6 weeks, right? They split it up into two sections while you're in college so that it goes with your schedule. And once I graduate college, I'll hopefully, right, get to commission as a second lieutenant. And then from then on, I plan on serving at least one active duty contract just to, hey, if I'm becoming a Marine Corps officer and I went through all this training, I should actually give back to the Corps, right?
Yeah.
My thing, right? That's what I'm going to do. And once I'm back, I hopefully plan on being a state trooper, hopefully getting into another government job while being in the reserves, and then hopefully still staying in the dojo because that's always going to be there in my life, right? Coming back to the dojo. And, down the line when I'm like retiring or when I'm chilling out with life with my pensions, I want to open up my own dojos as well. I want to give back to the community, these kids, what I got from my senseis, right? Because what my senseis gave me is, it's indescribable, right? It's an opportunity to so many doors that I could go through, and they set me straight, right? It's a beautiful opportunity. So that's what I take as a sensei myself when I'm teaching class, and I'm like, hey, my job here isn't just to like make sure their technique is good. It's to, hey, elevate these students both in and off the, dojo and mats and make sure that they're set up at school, right? That when they speak at school, they're confident. When they walk those streets, they know exactly how to walk, to talk, to be disciplined and to treat their parents with like respect and dignity and, give themselves a plan for their future, even at a young age, right? They could start thinking now. So that's what I take.
I love it, man. It's like I don't really need to ask anything more, right? Because you covered all of it. No, dude, like I think it's cool that you're very you're very task and goal oriented, but you're also realistic at the same time. And I say that because it's like you're not, at least from what you've, just said now, you're not jumping too far ahead, right? I like how you said you're in college and then, the next step is, this year or, like, going to boot camp, then you have a vision after that. As a college student, because I mean, you're what, like, if you're in college, what, you're between 18 and 21?
Yeah, 19.
19, perfect. Wow. Yeah. So you still have like, I mean, you're very mature for 19. You still have the whole, as they say, like the whole rest of the, life ahead of you, right? If you will. And no, it's cool that you've been able to navigate it and you've done so many things at 19, I mean, not many people can say that, show. And I hope you understand, like, and I hope you see that, and, how do you balance your social life? Because I know you're in college. Do you like, are you at home or are you like, or like, do you live in like on campus? Because I know you said you still work at the academy as well. So, or the dojo, I'm sorry. So
Good.
what's your social like life like? I know it's kind of a weird question, but
It's a good question. I know it's interesting. I'm very busy, right? Because if I'm not at college, I'm at the dojo. If I'm not at the dojo, I'm in college, right?
yeah,
I go to college around 2 times a week, and obviously with my karate schedule, I make time in my evenings, my afternoons to give time to myself because it's really important to give time to yourself, or else you're just gonna fuse out, and then you're really cooked. And then you're just going to start screwing over the people around you, right? So I make sure to prioritize myself so that I'm able to give back and actually do my job and, serve in the military in a proper way and, do my job the efficient way, right? So
yeah,
take time out of my day, right? Whether it's college days in the afternoon, evenings, right? I hang out with my friends, or if it's in the nighttime, I play little video games here and there, right? Get on a call, chillax, right?
yeah,
Sure to balance that because you don't ever want to sever connections that you don't need to sever, right? Always keep your connections and to make sure to uphold, right? To always give back. Like just trying to do my best in that. So I'm always trying to balance it out. It's a struggle, obviously, but I found my good positioning in that.
absolutely. And I like how you said you don't want to sever those connections because, and that's one thing that, and again, I'm just going to kind of go off the cuff here and, kind of be vulnerable with you a little bit. But, as an athlete, especially early on, I had this, and it was kind of a scarcity mindset where, if, I mean, looking back now, it's kind of silly, but,
Right. It's always like that.
yeah, yeah. So like, as I was, navigating through college, I was also coaching wrestling. I was also competing a lot. So for me, it's like, yeah, sure. Like we can be friends, but if you're not doing karate, I'm probably not gonna, be your friend. And looking back in hindsight, I know for a fact that, definitely cost me, potential opportunities for, you know, I don't know, meaningful connections, and, even relationships where now my friend group is, It's small because like as you mature and things, you just like
Yeah, it happens.
experience this. Yeah, and it happens in a good way because like as you get older, right, you want to surround yourself with the right people. But yeah, man, I like let's just say things. I have acquaintances, if you will, from all different social circles. I love surfing, so like I have my friends that I see at the beach. I have my jiu-jitsu friends, my karate friends. I have my podcast friends now. So I have meaningful connections everywhere I go. And I think early on, I wish I would have had that mindset. And I feel like that's something that you've been able to kind of anchor on, pretty early. So I commend you for that. And yeah, keep that because, I really believe in maximizing your connections. And that means it's not taking advantage of, but it's like I know karate, I know jujitsu, and I know a little bit of surfing, but that's it. And I know podcasting, but
Hell yeah.
but if you ask me, like I drive a Jeep, but like if you ask me to fix my Jeep, probably not the guy to do it. So I've had to learn to like be humble, be like, yeah, I don't know everything. So
Yeah.
and it's cool that you from what I'm hearing that you have that that abundance mindset, if that makes sense. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I feel like you learn to ask for help, right? I think that's a big struggle that a lot of guys have, right? To
Yes.
like, hey, I'm gonna do it on my own. It's better if I do it myself. And yeah, there's situations where like, hey, I'm like, no, I'm taking charge. This is how I'm gonna do it, and it's gonna get done the right way. But there's so many moments where I'm like, I need help. I am gonna reach out because there should be no embarrassment in that, right? I'm growing from another human being, and I'm sure that they're gonna obtain more from this while I'm obtaining more from them, right? It's a trade. It's a good thing. So I think that especially as a guy, it's good to be a little vulnerable and ask for help and reach out to those people and be like, hey, I want to talk. I got I'm going through some stuff. Let's just chat it out. Let's go for a drive, have some fun. Get away for a little bit. Or like, hey, I don't know how this works, and I know that you're an expert. Can you teach me, right? And especially that going into the mindset of becoming a Marine Corps officer, that's what it's all about, right? You commission as a second lieutenant, you do outrank all the enlisted, but that doesn't mean you know more than them, right? To take that humble step and to stay that way as a second lieutenant and be like going to these lance corporals, these E3s, E2s, and be like, hey, you're the expert. Let me learn from you, right?
Yeah.
You teach me so that I'm able to grow and help you.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. And absolutely. And your men will have a lot more respect for you because, dude, I could go. Oh, that's a whole different discussion as far as
Yeah.
like leadership in the military and what's good and not. But I always valued the especially the chief master sergeants or like I used to know this, but the ranks in the Marine Corps, on the enlisted side, who's the what's the highest Marine rank of for the enlisted side? Is it a sergeant major? Okay, I was right. Yeah, yeah. So you're right. Like if you're a brand new lieutenant, it would make sense to learn from a sergeant major. But bro, I've seen a lot of not a lot, but I've been around or heard a lot, about these officers that graduate from whatever institution. I'll just say that
Yeah.
they have this, this cockiness and
Hey, they think they're hot stuff.
yeah, and then they get shown up for it. And dude, I sit back and I'm like, I don't feel sorry for you, bro, because you came in with that. But I think the smartest officers or even the best coaches and best senseis, they never stop being a student. Like they
Yes.
never stop being a follower.
Yes, because that brings me back to like when I started teaching classes on my own, my sensei Joe, right, Sensei Joseph, he's like, damn, like I'm getting stuff from you that I never knew, and I'm like, wow, yeah, that's true. And then I look at like Rocco or Annabelle, right, some of my other peers that help teach classes as well, and I'm like, that's awesome. Like I didn't even think about that. Like I'm taking that from you, and now I'm gonna implement it into my own teaching. So I don't see why not where you could look down, but at the same time, you're really looking up to someone that knows more and obtain that knowledge. And, it's a good trade, right, for any and every aspect of your life, especially being an officer, right?
Yeah.
Especially being an officer. I've been through like mini OCS and some little bit of training, talked to some officers, and that's what they emphasize the most, right? Being humble, learning from those junior Marines and to actually care and gain that knowledge so that you could properly give back and be a Marine Corps officer, right? So it's a big thing for me.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I think just being humble, like you say, and just it's never one thing that I've learned, show, and something that was instilled in me, not recently, but I would say probably in the last 5 years, something that I'll share with you
Yeah.
is this, people don't care what you know until they know that you care. So
Yeah.
like you you could have done all like I mean you've done karate competitions, you're a Marine, and you could go into a seminar or a clinic and say all these things, but until you can actually provide value and people know that you actually care about what they're learning, I always say like good luck trying to teach people. So I've learned as a martial artist, it's people just want to be heard. They just
Yeah.
want to know that someone cares about them. And as a leader, someone in your position and, soon to be officer, it's not if you become an officer, it's when you become an officer. And I'm looking forward to, seeing that post and,
Oh
hearing about
yeah.
that day, dude. But like, it's inevitable, like as long as you're doing what you need to do. Yeah, dude, this is like, man, you've at 19 years old, man, you have such a fantastic mindset on life. And I know we can only scratch the surface when it comes to these discussions,
Yeah.
within an hour or so, but I've learned a lot from you. And I just appreciate your as they say in martial arts, your Shoshin mindset, which is the white
Mhm.
belt mindset, right? The beginner
Oh
mindset.
yeah.
And I'm sure you've heard that before, right? And it's just, I mean, Shoshin, right? Your name.
Yeah, bro.
It's interesting, right? So it's cool. Um, yeah, man. Before we close out this conversation, I would love to hear like what else. So I know you mentioned you're in school and that you're going to be going through um, a version of boot camp, like an upgraded version, if you will. But what else do you have like in store for this year? Do you have any tournaments? Are you going to like the nationals, for 2026? I'd love to hear that.
I was really looking forward to going to nationals for AAU as well as going to Washington for the other nationals, trying to have fun, make team in both situations. But my training is on those days, so I won't be
Of
there,
course.
unfortunately. Yes, so the next big step is to finish the semester off strong, to gain some downtime with my family and friends, and then to just proceed forward with training and just get through it, right?
Very cool. Um,
Yeah.
Show, where can people find you on social media if they want to get in touch with you, or if they, after they watch this or listen to this amazing episode on, whatever platform, if a listener is interested in knowing more about you, how can they, get in touch?
I'm always very like my biggest thing is that everybody should have at least one person they could talk to. So I do love lending my hand out for help, right? It's always there, it's always available. My Instagram is show_be_blitzen, BLITZIN,
Mhm.
right? And I'm more than happy to like answer questions, help with whatever, any related topics. Always ready for that, right? Always ready to give back because I've gained a lot, so it's the least I could do, right? So yeah, but another thing is I would love to see a podcast about you because you seem like you got a real interesting life. Like you got a good karate background. You've been in the military too.
Yeah.
You've been through a lot. You've gotten a lot of experiences. You're very very strong on your shoulders, right? Like so if you want a podcast too, you let me know, bro. We'll switch places on your podcast.
I really appreciate that show. I do. And, thank you for sharing your social media contact. And for those that just listen to that, I can attest to Show's ability to get back in a timely manner. I reached out to him, and yeah, long story short, here we are. So I applaud you on your professionalism, and more importantly, man, just trusting me with this process. That's one of the things I want. This Kumite lifestyle is, yeah, it's the meeting of hands, it's fighting, but
Yes.
everyone is going through a struggle, like everyone has a story. So my job is to yeah, my goal for this isn't just to market it to martial artists that just happen to be in karate, because isn't it interesting that and you're an instructor, right?
Hmm.
um, you're a coach. If you had five students come in, right,
Yeah.
just say all walks of life, right? If you guys are wearing your gis or your kimonos and you guys all take a picture, no one's going to say like, oh, like that, like they're going to think, oh, that's cool, right? They do jujitsu or kung fu or what, like, or Power Rangers, whatever people think about, martial artists. But bro, like if you took those five people and you put them in regular street clothes, it could
It's
be an old
different.
man, it could be
Yeah.
like a teenager, it could be you. Yeah, like people are going to think, how do those five people know each other? So like there is I don't know. It's just like martial arts has this way of really like bringing people together. So
Yeah.
that's been my goal, man. So but
Yeah.
yeah, I would be down for that. You're not the like you're not the first person to say
Hell
that,
yeah.
and I guess I don't know, man. It's never been about me, and And I really, and like, I sincerely mean that. And I hope that, the viewers and like all my guests know that I didn't start this for me. I didn't start this like, oh, this is the Nick Orange show. No, that's why it's called the Kumite lifestyle. And
Hell
you
yeah.
go like if you search Nick Arndt like on YouTube and stuff like, or just Kumite, you're not going to see my name come up with any episode because it's not
Yeah,
about me. But I got to give the people what they want, So if that's something that people want to, learn about, like, my
yeah,
story,
bro.
like, yeah, like I'm all for it. So yeah, maybe we can do like a little collab session, I
Hell
think
yeah,
that'd be
you
cool.
let me know. I'll sell my questions just for you, bro. You let me know.
All right, yeah, that sounds good. And then, finally, show before we do depart, I always like to give my guests, the opportunity to give any shout outs to anyone out there in the world that's helped impact them. And I know your list might be long, but like
Yeah.
if you can kind of like narrow it down, like when you think of people that have really helped you or inspired you, kind of the first names that come up to your mind, who would it be?
First of all, Sensei Joe and Vicky from Blitz Dojo, right? They've basically been all my stepping stones in life, right? Whenever I've been down, they've helped me get back up. They've helped me learn lessons that I can only imagine of learning both on and off the mat for real life. Annabelle and Rocco and all my teammates, honestly, they're all a blessing, right? I learned so much from them. They helped me teach as well. And then my family, especially my family, right? My siblings are the reason why I am who I am, why I'm here with my academics as well as my sportsmanship, and then my mother, right? She's a big part of my life. So right, without her, I definitely wouldn't be where I'm standing today, right? So thank God for all these people, for all my teammates. It's an absolute blessing to be where I am, and to actually have the Marine Corps and everybody that I am able to surround myself with. And I think what you're doing here is absolutely freaking amazing, right? Like you're actually going into these people's lives and showing that hey, we're more than just karate. Karate isn't just like me being on the tatami. It's so much more. There's a whole life and a whole lesson behind it, and you're actually unlocking that. So fantastic job on that. And you're getting out of your like comfort zone. You're stepping out. You're making time. As you
Yeah,
said, time is a commodity for us all, right? So you're
yeah.
doing a great thing, man. It's pretty epic to see you grow, and I know you're gonna be up there one day, man. It's gonna be great.
Thank you, bro. I really appreciate that. And I appreciate you giving us your time as far as, talking about your story early on, like, coming over because you won a green card. So I think winning was kind of in your lucky bag, winning, winning, winning. So I think it's cool that you
Yeah, bro.
yeah, I think that you've won. Or I don't think I know that you've continued to win and have won a lot of things in life that are meaningful. You have a great family, from what I'm hearing. Huge shout out to your senseis for raising such an incredible young man. And yeah, I think sky's the limits. For you. Like why don't shoot for the moon, right? Shoot for the stars, man. Shoot for
Hell yeah.
as far as you can. And I'm excited to see where you have to go with this. And I hope that the listeners out there, learned, as much as I did, today as well. And again, guys, if you're watching this, make sure to check this out on YouTube. We're now available on Spotify, Apple, Amazon, in the process of getting all this available because I want the world to be able to, hear these stories today. So, Sho, it was an absolute honor to have you on today as a guest for the Kumite Lifestyle podcast. I hope that you enjoy the rest of your day and that, yeah, that you keep, accomplishing all the things that you want to accomplish, man.
Thank you, sir. It was an absolute pleasure. Thank you for having me. Like, great opportunity. You let me know if you ever need anything from me, okay?
Absolutely, and vice versa. All right,
Thank
bro.
you.
Yep, take care.
Thank you, man. You have a good day.
Real quick, if you're enjoying what you're watching or listening to right now, do me a favor and hit that subscribe button on YouTube and follow us on all major streaming platforms, including Spotify, Apple, and Amazon. This podcast is all about real conversations and stories that resonate with all walks of life. And your support helps us bringing these amazing, powerful episodes to you. Let's stay connected. Don't miss what's next and be a part of the Kumite lifestyle community.